What's good, y'all? How everybody feeling tonight, man? Like the video, share the video out. Black Panther, you not neither. We all got here around the same time. Y'all can hear me. That's good. So what's good, y'all, man? Happy Black History Month. I see a lot of people talking about a lot of things that don't got nothing to do with history, or at least our history. They making everything that ain't us. Word, salute to the chats. Big up Virginia. Old dog. Ibolic. EIE. Black Panther. Peace, 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 peace. Everybody in the chat. Sean P. Root word. Peace, 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 everybody. I don't know how to say your name. Tundi. Olagoon. Peace, peace, peace. Yo, share the video, like the video, y'all. But yeah, a lot of people talking about everything that don't got nothing to do with us. They making us Romans. They making us Greeks. They doing everything else, but what that got to do with us? So let's just get into it, right? So historically, who do so-called Negro, Black, colored Americans say who we are? What do we have to say about it? A lot of people like to talk around us, but they don't want to go to what we say. I don't know. It's kind of weird, right? I don't. Why not go to the people, right? If you want to find out who somebody is and all that, let's go right to the people, right? We got an excerpt of the letter from Nzinga and Bimba to the Portuguese King Jao. To the Portuguese King Jao III. My bad, y'all. I can't talk right now. 1526. In 1526, the king of Congo, Nzinga, who by this time had adopted the Christian name Afonso, began writing a series of 24 letters to the Portuguese King Jao, appealing for an end to the slave trade. This is 1526, y'all. So a lot of times, the people who go against this history that we say is ours, right? This is what they say. Oh, you don't hear Africans talking about it. What is the Africans talking about in 1526? Black Panther, Jackie Brown, Martin Luther King can't prove slavery. Just tell what he been taught. No, but when we compile all the evidence, when we go through history, and everybody was talking about it every time period, like we see here in the 1500s, we see Nzinga and Boomba talking about it. He's in the Congo, right? So this is from one of his letters. Quote, freed and exempt men, and very often it happens that they kidnap even noblemen and the sons of noblemen and our relatives and take them to be sold to the white men. So you're right. MLK can't just tell a story, but we have a whole bunch of people that tell a story for us. What else did he say? And as soon as they are taken by the white men, they are immediately ironed and branded with fire. And when they are carried to be embarked, right? So we hear about them being branded and things like this, but he's complaining about this in 1526. Now, yeah, he participated in the slave trade, but we have this idea that Africans, well, I ain't gonna say we, but a lot of people have this idea that Africans looked at themselves as one person, as one people, and they didn't. Melody Goddess, peace, peace, sis. And they didn't. They just didn't. So we played a part in it. Hey, that's the history. Good, bad, the ugly. Right? This is in 1594, October 9th, 1594. This is from firstblacks.org, manuscript number 40, right? A black man sold as a slave by French smugglers on La Española northern coast claimed a right to freedom based on his African original social status of nobility. He's talking about, hey, I'm a son of a king. I ain't supposed to be doing this shit. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I ain't supposed to be a slave. You know who my daddy is? That's what he's saying. So, like again, we dealing with the primaries. Something a lot of people don't. I got the laser now. Y'all in trouble. A peace, everybody coming in. Share, like the video on your way in, man. Share this out to somebody that might want to hear it. Right? So this is what? 1594. So he's testifying in court. Right? This is the manuscript number 40. I cut this part out. This is the Spanish. I ain't gonna try to say it, but this is what he's they're calling him a Guinea Ladino. They telling you right here he's the Christianized African, right? So what does this say? And after, can I read it from here? Yeah. And after what was said on the 9th day of the said month of October, and in the said year, for the said inquiry before the said honorable judge, oath was taken lawfully and received from Sebastian, Creole, originally from Guinea, Ladino, and he is said to be Christian. So if you know the rules back then, sometimes you can get away with being a Christian and get out of slavery because you was a Christian, right? This is in the 1500s. So this is his oath. This is what he says. He said, "Who today, the said day, came to the house of the said honorable judge to request justice for himself, for he is free and has been brought by the French of the Northern Strip, and after taking oath and being asked about the reason for the complaint and beginning of this business, said that this witness is Creole from Vaganda, which is in Guinea, and that he is the son of a king." He said, "I'm a son of a king. I ain't supposed to be doing this. This ain't right. Get me out of here. Son of a king of such people. And when the witness was coming from the said town by sea to Sierra Leone on a vessel of Gaspar de Agua, which may have been more or less a year ago, the witness was the page boy of the said captain, since he was being paid for it, and while sailing, they were encountered by a French Captain Bevel. And this is when he was stolen and brought to America and put into slavery." Now, I wish I could find out what happened to him. Did he ever get free or whatever? I don't know. Oh, I don't pronounce the A in Guinea. My bad. So, yeah. So here we go. This man telling his story in the 1500s. What he got to lie to us for? What does he have to fake this happening, right? It's a court document, right? This is what you call history. I don't know why people don't like history. So that was the 1500s. So we had a king talking about, hey, my people over there being stolen and being sold to the white man. Then we got testaments of people being snatched up and then sold in America. So it's a 1693 affidavit, right? This is from March 22nd, 1693. It's from Warwick County, now Newport News, Virginia. It was submitted to the governor, Sir Edmund Andros, by Dudley Diggs, Richard Whitaker, Carter Hubbard, William Carey, and William Rosser. See, when we show you documents, they got names, places, dates. We don't just give you a generalized story. The document informs the governor that Frank, a man of African descent, enslaved by Henry Gibbs, has been jailed on suspicion of planning a slave uprising. The riders also seek the governor's help in ferreting out the details of a rumor of an evil and desperate design contrived by the Negroes. Right? They always try to paint us as we're just passive. We just let them be enslaved. Nah, we fought the whole way. The whole way. Big up Virginia. But yeah, we fought the whole way. This is Phyllis Wheatley, right? She has a Everybody know Phyllis Wheatley. She was born 1753, died December 5th, 1784. Born in West Africa, most likely in present day Gambia or Senegal. See, a lot of people forget that when we left those places, they really wasn't. It wasn't the. They didn't have the boundaries they have. They necessarily didn't have the names, right? Yeah, Bostonian. They didn't have the names. So, like they said, present day Gambia, Senegal. So she wrote a poem about on being brought from Africa to America. See, we have the history. All through history, we have it where we talked about this. We talked about all of it. Right? She says, "'Twas mercy brought me from the pagan land, taught me, benighted soul, to understand that there's a God and there's a Savior too. Once our redemption neither sought nor knew, some view our sable race with scornful eye. Their color is a diabolical dye. Remember, Christian Negroes, black as Cain, may be refined and join the angelic train." That's Phyllis Wheatley on being brought from Africa to America. What year was that? Yeah, she died 1784. But for some reason, when we ask these other people, like Moors, these Indians, the Aboriginals, Hebrews, we ask them, can you show us people in history who says the things that you say? Right? Can we? And that alone starts an argument. They won't even answer that for us. What they do, they want to move the goalposts, ask us a million questions instead of just getting directly to it. Right? Paul Cuffey, everybody knows Paul Cuffey. January 17th, he was born 1759, died September 7th, 1817, in the state of Massachusetts. So what we're looking at is a petition for relief from taxation, March 14th, 1780. Petition for poor Negroes and mulattoes. So what this say? It says that we, being chiefly of African extract. I mean, we being chiefly of African extract, and by reason of long bondage and hard slavery, we have been deprived of enjoying the profits of our labor for the advantage of inheriting estates from our parents. Talking about generational wealth. Advantage of inheriting an estate from our parents, as our neighbors, the white people, do, having some of us not long enjoyed our own freedom. So yeah, we see people again continuing this history that we talk about today in 2024. Right? Paul Cuffey was a free man. He went from coming from a parent who was enslaved to being a big businessman. Would have been worth millions in today's money. He was able to bring some people back home to Africa. Right? So it's not a sad story. It's a story of triumph. Right? We made it. Nigga, we made it. So, like I said, we deal with the primaries. The history is here. This is it right here. Close up. We see March 14th, 1780. We see right here the petition of several poor Negroes and mulattoes who inhabitants of the town of Dartmouth, something, that we, being chiefly of African extract, and by reason of long bondage and hard slavery, we have been deprived of enjoying the profits of our labors, right? Or inheriting estates from our parents. We have the continuous history. Where's the Abo history? Where's the Moor history? Where's this Israelite history in America that they be talking about everybody is? We never see it. We never see it. Right? And this is their signatures on the back. You know, people like to ask, well, did they sign it? Did they sign it? Yeah, they signed it. You see John Cuffey, Paul Cuffey's brother. We see Paul Cuffey here and some other people. Yeah, they signed it. All right, so we just go on a little timeline. Something that these other groups can't do, especially Aboriginals. They cannot give you a timeline. They can't give you people who talked about this. It's something they can't do. On April 12, 1787, Richard Allen and Absalom Jones founded the Free African Society in Philadelphia to be multi-denominational, mutual aid organization for free people so that they could gather strength and develop leaders in the community. Allen and Jones were both religious leaders and formerly enslaved men who had purchased their freedom before moving to Philadelphia, where they met and found common cause. Right? Absalom Jones was born 1746. Richard Allen, 1760, both in Delaware. And this is the preamble of the Free African Society. Like today, for most of the people in the chat, you're not going to see nothing new. But what we're doing is we're putting it together, right? We talk about it, but they need to see it. And can they match it? I don't think they can. They don't have anybody outside of the 2000s unless they go on to York or Dr. York, if that's who they want to use. But really talking this Aboriginal stuff. And one person with a group of, how many people he had is not enough. We could literally do this all day. So it says, whereas Absalom Jones and Richard Allen, two men of the African race, who, for their religious life and conversation, have obtained a good report among men, these persons from a love to the people of their complexion, whom they beheld with sorrow because of their irreligious and uncivilized state, often commune together upon this painful, important subject in order to form some kind of religious society. But there being too few to be found under the like concern. So he's saying, listen, we can't all agree on this religious society. And those who were different in the religious settlements, with the circumstances, they labored for some time till it was proposed, after a serious communication of sentiments, that a society should be formed without regard to religious tenets. So we're going to do it without religion, provided the person lived an orderly and sober life in order to support one another in sickness and for the benefit of their widows and fatherless children. Right? They're coming together. This is a mutual aid society. They're going to work together for the greater good. Sounds like Pan-Africanism to me. Right? We have more people talking about it. We have the famous Venture Smith, birth name, Rotier Furio. I don't know how to pronounce it. 1729, 1805. He was born in a place he calls Dunkadara in Guinea, a term that at the time referred to much of West Africa. Right? And he just says, I was born in Dunkadara in Guinea about the year 1729. My father's name was Sogun Furia, prince of the tribe of Dunkandara. Right? His book is titled Narrative of the Life and Adventures of Venture, a native of Africa, but resident about 60 years in the United States of America. I just want to know what other groups have a history like this. Our history is never forgotten. I don't know who even says that. Oh, we forgot it. No, we never forgot it. There's nothing to forget. It's literally written down every step of the way. By us, might I add. Or some sort of participation. We got Peter Williams Jr., born in Jersey. Right? He was an abolitionist who also supported free black immigration to Haiti. the Black Republic that had achieved independence in 1804 in the Caribbean. In the 1820s and 1830s, he strongly opposed the American Colonization Society efforts to relocate free blacks to the colony of Liberia and West Africa. He wasn't with it, right? They had their reasons because they wasn't ready to be fooled. Like, nah, you trying to get rid of the free people so you can keep your hold on slavery stronger. In 1827, he was a co-founder of the Freeman's Journal, the first African American owned and operated newspaper in the United States. 1827. What? I thought you said slaves can't read. It was against the law. Who was reading it? Black people. Because we could read. Right? And this is what he wrote. It's an oration on the abolition of the slave trade delivered in the African church in the city of New York, January 1st, 1808, by Peter Williams Jr., a descendant of Africa. Where are the Aboriginal? Where are these black Indians at? Where their history at? Who are their ancestors? Who are they civil rights leaders? Who was their teachers? Who was their lawyers? Hmm? Anybody know? Anybody? Because everybody been asking the Abos for a long time. Yo, give us the history, man. Give us the history. They're gonna run to the Book of Atlantis, Land of Mu. Tell us some shit that don't exist, or take us 10,000 years ago to some mounds that they ain't got nothing to do with. Nothing to do with. Where is the history? I just want to know. So here's a couple things out of here. Page 11, it says, but to us, Africans and descendants of Africans, this period is deeply interesting. We have sensibly felt the sad effects of this abominable traffic. And he's talking about the slave trade, the abolishment of the slave trade in 1808. It has made, if not ourselves, our forefathers and kinsmen, its unhappy victims. There's a black man talking about him, his forefathers being unhappy victims of this slave trade. Not talking about white people. None of that. But we only get this because what? We fought to be free. Right? So we get this history. Right? We get this powerful speech because we never gave up. That's why we're here today. And pronounced on them and their posterity the sentence of perpetual slavery. Like I said, that's on page 11 in this book. Right? And he gives a little history of how it happened. Mutual agreements were then made. The Europeans were to supply Africans with those gaudy trifles, those little like shiny things, little gifts, which so strongly affected them, and the Africans in return were to grant the Europeans their prisoners of war and convicts as slaves. On page 15 in this book. Again, where's their history? Jackie Brown, where's this Aboriginal history? Do you got some names for us? No, Jackie Brown, we could read. I don't know what you're talking about. Not proving anything other than what we've been telling you. All through history, you will find us talking about what happened at the time, after the time. You will hear about it. Right? I started in the 1500s. Right now, we're in 1808. See, look, she's pushing this. Oh, slaves couldn't read bullshit. So what was Nat Turner doing when he was preaching from the Bible? He could read. Plenty of them could read. I don't know where you're getting this from. I don't know where you're getting this from. So what we talking about? The abolition of the slave trade, right? 1808. So this is an article from the Evening Post, July 21st, 1808, page 2. The African school celebrating the end of the slave trade. At the African school, they're celebrating the end of the slave trade. It says the people of color are requested to attend a general meeting at the African schoolroom on Friday evening, June 22nd at 7 o'clock, in order to make arrangements for celebrating the abolition of the slave trade. It's July 18th. Paper came out the 21st. They wrote this on the 18th. Like I said, you're going to see us talking about this stuff. I don't know what Jackie Brown's talking about. I want to see who's y'all Aboriginal leaders. Who? We don't see it. Ogun, peace. King Kapala, peace. Does anybody know? Like, it's like, where's Waldo? Where's the Abo history? Talking about we can't read. This is crazy. Again, the Free African School celebrating the abolition of the slave trade, 1808. Right? So this is a poem. This is called The Sorrows of Yamba, or the Negro Woman's Lamentation. Right? This is in 1819. It says The Sorrows of Yamba. In St. Lucia, distant isles, still with Africa's love I burn. Parted many a thousands of miles, never to return. So we're writing poems about this. Women, men, like she said, still with Africa's love I burn, parted many a thousand miles, never to return. Come con death and give me rest. Yamba has no friend but thee. Thou can't ease my throbbing breast. Thou can't set the prisoner free. Down my cheeks the tears are dripping. Broken is my heart with grief. Mangled my poor flesh with whipping come con death and bring relief. Born on Africa's golden coast, once I was as blessed as you. Parents tender, I could boast. Husband dear and children too. But she's saying, listen, I had all the things you had. Right? She's just reminiscing about being in Africa. Had a family. The whitey man, he came from far, sailing o'er the briny flood, who, with help of British tar, buys up human flesh and blood. With the baby at my breast, other two were sleeping by. In my hut I sat at rest, with no thought of danger nigh. From the bush, at eventide, rushed the fierce man stealing crew, seized the children by my side, seized the wretched Yamba too. This is in 1819. So you see us talking about these tragic things. And Jackie Brown, yes, you can go back. I did a couple of things on Nat Turner. I did my whole, I ain't gonna say the whole second round, but about 80% of the second round was based on Nat Turner, his trial, and I even brought up his descendants. He had descendants. Did you know that? So yeah, he was real. I don't even know how you can even dare to prove. I dare to even say some shit like, "Oh, can I prove Nat Turner?" What? Yes, it's been proven. He has living, breathing descendants today. What type of silly question is that? I need everybody to share the video, like the video. All right, we talking about Black history. Who do we say we are? As we can see so far, we're up in 1819. We started in the 1500s. We definitely, there's a theme here. We said we came from Africa. There's no ifs, ands, but about it. Here we have David Ruggles, born in Connecticut, March 15th, 1810. Died December 16th, 1849. And this is one of my favorite people, right? Is one of my favorite people. David Ruggles was an African American abolitionist writer, publisher, and a courageous voice of Black freedom. We need a David Ruggles movie. That's what we need. He assisted hundreds escaping slavery and mentored future abolitionists such as Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, and William Cooper Neal. We definitely need a David Ruggles movie. Oh, the last one with the black people owned white slaves in America. That second round, I went into the Nat Turner revolt, the court case, the list of all the white people killed, the trials where they talk about how they're on trial for killing white people, because the claim was that, like Jackie Brown's going with, you can't even prove if he's real. And what A1 was trying to say was, well, if he is real, he was hired to kill black slave owners. Right. So I just dismantled that in the second round of my last debate I had. Yeah. By the early 1830s, Ruggles became involved in the growing anti-slavery movement in New York, advocating for practical abolitionism, arguing that abolitionists should not just philosophize about the day slavery would end, but strive to help all victims of human bondage. He also advocated the use of civil disobedience and self-defense. He was with them hands. No ifs, ands, but about it. He was with those hands. We need a movie about him. I'm telling you, the beginning scene should be him and like 10 other black men walking up on a boat, just checking them white boys. Like, you sure you ain't got nothing you supposed to have on this boat? Right? Remember, he used to run up on the ships, making sure there wasn't no slaves in it in New York. That would be crazy. So David Ruggles, right? In 1828, opened a grocery shop. Ruggles Grocery Shop at 1 Cortlandt Street was also a circulating library and reading room for African Americans who were denied access to New York's public libraries. His was the nation's first black-owned bookstore. David Ruggles owned the first black-owned bookstore. And there, Ruggles sold anti-slavery publications until it was destroyed by a mob. Between 1838 and 1841, he wrote, printed, and published the first journal edited by an African American. That was called the Mirror of Liberty. David Ruggles was a visible conductor of the Underground Railroad and helped at least 600 enslaved people to freedom, including Frederick Douglass. Ruggles was also a founder of the New York Committee of Vigilance, which fought against the practice of kidnapping free blacks in New York, as well as fugitive African Americans and legally selling them into slavery in the South. Ruggles would openly confront kidnappers, slave catchers, and the Vigilance Committee offered their victims legal assistance. This is the NAACP before there was an NAACP. But they was with them hands. Ruggles himself experienced at least one such attempt kidnapping. They tried to kidnap him and sell him into slavery. Right. So where's the abos that was fighting? Oh yeah, I forgot. Nothing never happened to them. Nothing happened to no other group. Look, now Harriet Tubman ain't real. Rosa Parks story is fake. Yo, do this in March. Don't do this in February. Let's not do this month. Right? Harriet Tubman. What? David Ruggles helps escape slave, and he's put on trial. He gets arrested for this. The slave case. From New York Express of yesterday, Mr. Barney, of course, the individual charged with receiving the money stolen from Mr. J.P. Dog by his slave Tom Hughes, and of aiding in the escape of the felon, was yesterday brought for examination and declined answering any questions. Listen, I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. He was required to give bail in the sum of $5,000 for his appearance for trial. We ain't saying nothing. A colored man named David Ruggles was yesterday arrested on the charge of aiding in the escape of concealment of the Negro Tom. So he's also charged with the Negro Tom. The examination of Ruggles was began about 2:00 in the afternoon and was not brought to a close till about 9 in the evening. They was interrogating this man for 7 hours. David Ruggles on examination stated that his age was 29. He resided at 36 Lispenard Street, born in Lyme, Connecticut, is the editor of the Mirror of Liberty, and declines answering any questions relative to the slave Tom or his acknowledgement of his concealment. Listen, I plead the fifth. I don't know no Tom. I don't know where he's at. For 7 hours. We ain't giving you nothing. Oh yeah, this is crazy. She gives no evidence. She just makes these claims. But Jackie Brown, you're really a religious one. You believe in all this other stuff that lines up right with the Bible, but you just say you don't believe in it. We don't believe you. Ruggles was required to find bail in $3,000 for his appearance for trial, and complying with which he was liberated. So he paid his bail and got out. Right? So we could see this happening. Right? You got the free, you got the enslaved. You got the free blacks helping the enslaved blacks, whether they got to break crimes or not. Right? This is our history. I don't know what them Abos be talking about. I don't know what the Moors be talking about. Them Indians, I don't know what they talking about. They want to try to act like these things wasn't happening to us. It's documented. We have it. No, Jackie, you're boring. Henry Highland Garnett. You should learn something. Get your pen and paper out. Right? He was born in Maryland. Look, this is the black Americans y'all talking about. Where's y'all Abos at? You couldn't make a list of Abos. If you tried. You couldn't. She ain't gonna hit the link. It's coming soon. The link will be out there in about 10 minutes. I got a couple more slides, maybe less than that. She ain't gonna hit the link. Who's Henry Highland Garnett? Born 1815, died 1882. Maryland. Was an African-American abolitionist, minister, educator, and orator, having escaped as a child from slavery in Maryland with his family. We have a survivor of the Ma'afa. On Sunday, February 12, 1865, he delivered a sermon in the U.S. House of Representatives. The first colored man who has on any occasion spoken in our national capital on the occasion of the Congress passage on January 31st of the 13th Amendment, ending slavery. So he's the first colored man to speak at the House of Representatives, 1865. Where's the Aboriginal? Right? And this is his speech. They turned into a book. Right? It's called Garnett's Memorial Discourse. Introduction by James McCune Smith. Right? So we linked in. We got the first doctor. His ancestors did not come over in the Mayflower, nor the land at Plymouth Rock, nor kiss the Blarney Stone of the Pilgrim's father. On the contrary, his grandfather was stolen by slave traders from the coast of Africa, survived the horrors of the Middle Passage on a ship doubtless owned in Bristol or Boston, landed on the James River, and was thence transferred to the state of Colonel William Spencer at Newmarket, doomed to perpetual slavery, himself and his heirs forever. Page 17 from the introduction made by Dr. James McCune Smith. So this is James McCune Smith giving the introduction about Henry Highland Garnet, saying his grandparents was from Africa. This isn't new. This Abbo stuff is new. This is why you can't get nothing out of them. Any conversation you have with an Abbo, you're gonna argue. You're gonna argue. Smith was the first African American to receive a medical degree, then opened the first black pharmacy. That's Dr. James McCune Smith. You got history everywhere. Where's the Abbo pharmacy? Where's the who? Jackie Brown, tell us who was the first Aboriginal doctor? Or give us any Aboriginal doctor, please. Anyone. So it says, "Go to the shores of the land of my forefathers." This is Henry Highland Garnet talking. "Go to the shores of the land of my forefathers, poor bleeding Africa, which, although she has been ravaged, reaved and robbed for centuries, is nevertheless beloved by all her worthy descendants wherever dispersed." Even back then, he knows the history, but what he said, he still loves Africa. Always gonna love it. This is 1865. Here you go, Jackie. Harriet Tubman's parents, pure African blood, is from the Richmond Weekly, Palladium, March 23rd, 1869, page 1. Jackie Brown could never cite her source. What does it say? So this actually comes from an article where they're talking about a book that was written about Harriet Tubman in 1869. So this is what they said. Miss Harriet Tubman was born the year 1820 in Dorchester County on the eastern shores of Maryland, and not far from the town of Cambridge. Not a drop of white blood flows in her veins. Her parents are both pure-blooded Africans, and they still live at the advanced age of 98, as near as can be estimated from certain records. And though thus aged and living out beyond the toll gate on the South Street Road, Auburn, New York, they walk in every Sunday, more than a mile to the Central Church. So they 98 years old, Africans walking to the church. After service, they go to a class meeting at the Methodist Church, then wait for the third service, and after that, start for home. See, even church was long back then. It was all day long. Right? So we see that this is a continuous history. I don't care what an Abbo tells you. Like I said, we start in 15, 16, 17, 1800s. It's a continuous history. It never changed. But we got people that get on the internet today and the whole story changed. Everything is different now. But the only bad thing is they have no sources. They literally just making this shit up. Right? This is from the Howard Orphan Asylum, Entertainment by the Children. This is the article from the Brooklyn Daily Eagle, June 3rd, 1878, page 2. Right? If our mothers and our fathers are Africans, we must be African. Right? So this is a famous orphanage that was in New York City. The little inmates of Howard Colored Orphan Asylum have an exhibition of their singing yesterday afternoon in the AME Church on Bridge Street near Myrtle Avenue. That's Brooklyn. The attendance was good. The orphans occupied reserved seats near the pulpit. They opened the exercises with the song entitled Marching On. The Reverend John F. Thomas, pastor of the church, offered prayer. Another song was sung by the school, and Mr. Thomas made some interesting remarks. "I can read in the face of these children," said he, "a degree of intelligence that recollects honor on the institution they represent. It is the pride of every civilized country in the world to do something for its poor and forsaken. Besides our religious teachings and our benevolence, there is a love of nationality existing within the breast of every human being. There is a story told of a boy who said he did not know what nationality he was, but he said his mother was Irish and his father was Irish. So he must have been Irish too. So with us, so with us, so with us, our mothers were Africans and our fathers were Africans. We must be Africans, but we are American Africans. The American nation is composed of a variety of nationalities, and I suppose that is the reason it is so strong. We feel proud to be identified with the American people, the people of the United States of America, the noblest type of humanity now existing on the globe. There has been a good deal said recently about. Like I said, if our mothers are Africans and our fathers are Africans, we must be Africans. Jackie Brown, relax. Come up with some history, right? And this is a little something for the Indians, right? King Blue. This is one of another one of my favorite people, right? He was out there terrorizing them Indians because they wasn't giving him and his people they just do, right? King Blue. It says the former slaves formed political organizations and appointed people to represent their concerns before Congress in Washington, D.C. And one of those individuals was King Blue, who was enslaved by Benjamin Colbert, a member of a large slaveholding Colbert family of Chickasaws. So on the right over here, you can see his freedman rolls. We've seen examples of freedman rolls plenty of time. We've seen Smoke Hawkins freedman rolls. On these freedman rolls, it'll tell you the person and who they was enslaved by. This one, it tells him that he was enslaved by Benjamin Colbert. He's 43 at the time. Right? This is 1898 Freeman card number 135. So you can look this up. So we have a clipping down here. Indian Journal, January 11th, 1883, page 1. It says a delegation of 3 colored men and 1 Indian have gone to Washington from the Chickasaw Nation to have freedmen questions settled. They want to be admitted as citizens and to enjoy all rights and privileges and annuities as such. So this is what he wrote in 1882. Right? It's called The Eloquent Protest of the Chickasaw Freedmen. Right? The Eloquent Protest of the Chickasaw Freedmen, written in 1882. This piece is one of the most eloquent documents written by freedmen leaders King Blue and Isaac Alexander. They made an appeal in the form of a document called the Memorial of the Chickasaw Freedmen. In this document, their plight and their plea for assistance from the United States is felt by the reader. It is pronounced on this page in its entirety. This is it in its entirety. The undersigned, so this is a quote from it. The undersigned your memorials respectfully show that they are residents of the Chickasaw Nation and area, persons of African descent, and were born and bred in the said nation. Your memorials represent not only themselves, so they like to say, well, he can't speak for everybody. He can't speak for everybody. Well, he is, because he says your memorials represent not only themselves, but also that class of persons known in the nation as persons of African descent, of which class there are about 3,000 individuals. 3,000 individuals. Again, this is from the Memorial of the Chickasaw Freedmen, written in 1882. These men went to, like I just showed you, they went to D.C. to talk to the people about getting their rights. They had to go to the United States government. Right down here, you can go. It's called the Indian Journal, January 11th, 1883, page 1. Go get the newspaper, right? And you can see what they wrote them, right? It's called the Memorial of Chickasaw Freedmen, written in 1882. All you got to do is put that into your little Googles, and that's going to pop up. They wrote it to the Senate and the House of Representatives, right? We have this documented history. Even the Indians, Even the ones y'all call Indians, even the ones that are in these so-called nations, they still talking about they African. Yeah, we belong to Indian nations, but we are African. We're people of African descent. It's never changed. Not once. Not once over time has it changed. Not once. I need y'all to tell me if y'all hear echo when this shit play, because for some reason, whenever I put a video on my presentation, sometimes it be echoing. So let me know if it.
The reason why I wanted to make this video was because I remember this story that my mom used to tell us. So apparently in my
Was there echo? Somebody tell me if there's an echo. Let me know real quick. Somebody. Was there echo? Turn it up. Don't go no louder. That's the loudest it goes. What? Did you hear echo? No echo, just slow. Okay. We have to deal with that. So all history meets science. African woman DNA does a DNA test to reconnect with African Americans.
The reason why I wanted to make this video was because I remember this story that my mom used to tell us. So apparently in my family, there's like a great, I don't know how many greats, how many generations, but a great, like an ancestor. Well, not an ancestor, but a brother of an ancestor. So it's a great uncle who just disappeared one day, just vanished from the village and was never seen again. And so everybody in the family kind of agreed. I mean, that's the story we've heard. That's the story we hear today, that he was probably taken to be kidnapped, stolen, to become a slave in the Americas, and so we never heard from him again. We never, but thanks to technology today, it's just amazing. So after, when you get your test results, you get to see who and how many people you're related to, in this country, in the United States. And I was very surprised to see that there's over 700 people I'm related to. Here are my DNA results. So I'm 99% from Cameroon, Congo, Southern Bantu peoples. This is probably, the Funk tribe, because, yeah, we're from, see, Gabon, Cameroon, Congo, the small Congo, Congo Brazzaville. And this tiny country here is Equatorial Guinea. So here it is. Now let's go check out my matches. All right, so I'm gonna hide the names. And there you go. I have like hundreds and hundreds of people. It's crazy. It's crazy. So most of them are African American. Some of them are Latinos, and a few are even Asian and white. And I was very surprised. And when you look at their DNA profiles, you see that they have some African ancestry. I guess they just look white or Latino. I mean, because it's probably the majority of their genes, but they do have some African genes. It's just wow. So we see a lot of people. I'm surprised. I'm like, wow. So this person, if indeed it's him, if this person was taken from my family, had a lot of descendants. And who knows, maybe there was more than one person who was taken. I don't know. Anyway, this is the one story that I know. So I thought I'd share it with you. So here goes.
You heard her. This the story. She knows. She knows this story. She had the oral history, and then it lined it up. It lines right up with the DNA test. Right? I wish this thing would move. So okay. So if you want to look for that video, it's called "Finding Distant African American Relatives: African DNA Test," and the channel name is Tell Me Alice. Her channel name is Tell Me Alice. The video is named Finding Distant African American Relatives, African DNA Test. Her channel is Tell Me Alice. And you can see the whole video. The whole video is probably about 7-8 minutes long. So it's not that long. Right? Again, we started off with King Alfonso from Congo and Zinga. What was his name? Nzinga Mbumba, or something like that. Sorry if I'm messing his name. But we start off with him in 1526, writing letters to the Portuguese talking about, hey, yo, you're taking my people. You know, that wasn't part of the deal. You're supposed to basically, as we learned, other people would basically give up their prisoners of war or their convicts to these Europeans, right? So this is an apology for Ghana to Africans in the diaspora.
I wish at this point to particularly to apologize deeply on behalf of the chiefs and people of Gold Coast and Ghana for the atrocities, the cruelty, the inhuman treatment that were committed 400 years ago by my ancestors during the Atlantic slave trade, where over 400 years ago, millions of our brothers and sisters were captured, sold, and transported under inhumane and cruel circumstances through Elmina Castle across to the Caribbeans and to the New World. On behalf of the chiefs and people of Ghana, I do render unqualified apology, deep from the bottom of our hearts. Deep from our bottom of our hearts.
Again, we hear from all these people that say, yo, these Africans don't talk about this. Well, the ones we're from, they do. Y'all too busy talking on the East African and trying to say like they're supposed to know something about us. No, they're technically not. Why should they? They should know about their history. But you talk to them West Africans, they're gonna tell you what's up. They know who we are. They know exactly who we are. So, what's that comment? What the hell is that comment? Oh yeah, niggas don't know one African. Niggas is crazy, right? So this is a DNA. This is for my DNA test on Ancestry, right? This is one of my cousins from Africa. I found about 6, 7, maybe 8, something like that. But this is one. I was gonna put them all in here, but I just didn't feel like it. But my Nigerian cousin, right? You can look up this last name. You'll see it's from Nigeria. He's 100% Nigerian. Right? This is a conversation we had on the Ancestry message app, right? What do you say? He says, hello, I said, hello, I just wanted to reach out and introduce myself. My name is, family calls me, I'm from New York, I'm 38. This was 2 years ago. Anyway, I just wanted to start a conversation. Hope to hear from you soon. He writes back, hi, I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria and Igbo by tribe. Nice to meet you. I was wondering, have you matched to other people in America? You know, it's a big deal for us when we can find a cousin from the continent of Africa. He says, yes, I have 149 matches here. So he has 149 other American cousins. Right? So it's not just me. This isn't a one-off. And those are just the ones that took the test, right? So, like I said, that was on Ancestry. This is on 23andMe, right? 23andMe connected me to the Igbo tribe. I just showed you. I have a cousin who said what? An Igbo by tribe. He's from the eastern part of Nigeria, an Igbo by tribe. So, well, what did this DNA test tell me? Told me I was 25.9% Nigerian, 26%. He said Igbo people highly likely match. So if you look up highly likely in a scientific content context, it's going to give you 90 to 100% accurate. That's what they're saying. Their confidence is 90 to 100% that it's a match with the Igbo people. Right? It says you are connected through shared ancestors to people from the southern Nigeria, many whom identify as Igbo. This means some of your ancestors may have lived in this area and may have relatives who still live here today. Right? Still live here today. What did Ojero tell me? He told me he's from the eastern part of Nigeria and the Igbo by tribe. This is 2 different DNA tests, y'all. So this isn't the ancestry trying to gas me up and sell me a lie, right? That's not what's happening here. This is the science working. Like we seen with the young lady who talked about how she found American cousins. And she's from the continent of Africa. Right? I'm telling you, I could have made 1,000 slides on just all this stuff. I don't want to take up too much of your time. This should be the end. Yep, we at the end. So, to the American Aboriginal community, where is the Aboriginal Americans in history? All we see is Africans and their descendants who became the Black Americans / African Americans. That's all we see.